Good Wednesday morning of the 31st week of Ordinary Time. This Gospel by Luke, it is fierce. It shows you the cost of discipleship. And he puts it in absolutely stark terms, unthinkable terms. And I'll give it to you, I'll show it. And Luke is writing to the Gentiles, probably Jewish Gentiles, as Jews in Greece. I think that's where they were going. But I'll show you the ethos. I'm following that up, and I'm sorry. It said, great crowds were traveling with Jesus, and he turned and addressed them. If anyone comes to me, listen to this line, without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers and sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. Whoever does not carry his cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. Which of you wishing to construct a tower does not first sit down and calculate the cost to see if there is enough for its completion? Otherwise, after laying the foundation and finding himself unable to finish the work, the onlooker should laugh at him and say, this one began to build but did not have the resources to finish. Or what king marching into battle would not first sit down and decide whether with 10,000 troops he can successfully oppose another king advancing upon him with 20,000 troops? But if not, while he's still far away, he will send a delegation to ask for peace terms. In the same way, every one of you who does not renounce all his possessions cannot be my disciple. Boy, religious life picked that up, that last part for sure. That's why we take vows of poverty, okay? Chastity and obedience is universal to anybody in the clergy, for sure. But that vow of poverty was specifically for religious life. And this is the culture. You leave it all. When you become you join a religious order, you leave your home, your neighborhood, your family, and friends. You go where the order wants you to go, where it's called to go. That's the truth. That is absolutely true. I mean it. So anyhow, I just wanted to share that with you. And anyway, see, I'm going to show it to you again, all right? If anyone comes to me without hating his father and mother, wife and children, brothers, sisters, and even his own life, he cannot be my disciple. It's called the cost of discipleship. That's unthinkable, what he just said. That is so morally extreme. The only word I can think is shocking and culturally repulsive, because he's rejecting the very foundations of morality itself, namely loving your father and mother, your home, your family, your sibs, your own life. You can't hate your family. You cannot hate your family. You can't hate yourself. See? But then he kicks it. Whoever does not carry his own cross and come after me cannot be my disciple. The radical carrying of the cross. And maybe in Luke's time, I'll show it to you. For me, it's abhorrent what he's saying, okay? What if you're in Luke's time, when a convert to Christianity, whether a Jew or a pagan, would cost you your family, would cost you your relatives, would cost you virtually everything? It could very well cost you your life. This is the age of martyrdom. These people they're getting thrown to the lions, literally. So you got to figure that if you became a convert, the price was astronomical. And it still is in many places. In many parts of the world, to become a Christian is making yourself extremely vulnerable to attack. I think of my passionist for my older brothers in the order, okay, the generation older than me, 2 generations older, who went to China. Talk about leaving father and mother. You're leaving everything, including your language, for the sake of the gospel. And you're going 1,500 miles into a land that is as remote from Christianity as you can get, and speaking a language you don't know a word of. You talk about sacrificing it all. And also the risk of martyrdom. I think of our men who were there. I told you many times the stories. some of the men that were shot to death, just they were gunned down by bandits. Or how many of our men went to prison there during both the Japanese and the communists. I think of them. The bishops that ordained me had all been victimized in China. That's the truth. That is the truth. That's one of the privileges of my life, to live with the men that had suffered under Chinese oppression, especially communist oppression. Not so much the Japanese, but the Chinese. I think about Cuthbert O'Gara, so many, Bishop Cuthbert. But so many of the men, they weren't bishops, they were the working stiffs, and they were good passionists. They lived the passion of Christ. I think one of the hardest things for them, if you don't mind me just dancing around and reflecting on this, was they knew that many of their friends were imprisoned and or killed because of their friendship. I don't know. I can think of my friends at St. Mark's, St. Timothy's here. That some of my friends in an era like our men in China in the 30s, 40s, and 50s would lose their life because I was their friend. It's unthinkable. But I lived with those men back in the early 60s, and I would hear them at times talk about their friends in China, wondering if they were still alive or what happened to them. Yeah. It's the price of discipleship, the cost of discipleship. Converts who come very often lost their families or put themselves in such foreign environments that the culture upon which they could trust in the past, they couldn't trust it anymore. Price of discipleship. Whatever this is worth, I think our young people today, our children and our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, are going to face that kind of hostility in the West. Because as we are secularizing more and more and more, not only will Christianity and religion, but especially Christianity, become unappealable. People are not going to want it or like it. It may be counterforced. In other words, it may be attacked. Flat out attacked, because it is a counter ideology. It's a counter ethos, not ideology, but ethos, to the radical secularization of the society. You can see it coming now, where Christian values are at times ridiculed. As long as I don't know how long, but I wonder what our grandchildren and our great-grandchildren will face in affirming their Christianity, if they do affirm it. It's not going to be a walk in the park. I think Christianity is the last voice of a true humanism in the world, a deep and radical humanism. And I'm afraid it's going to come under complete fire by the other ideologies, humanistic ideologies that are out there, especially, I think, of communism, but also secularism. It's going to be, I'm old, I won't see it. But the two generations that are younger than I am, so it would be equivalent if I had grandchildren, they're going to see a struggle. They're going to endure a struggle. It's going to resemble the early church, just what you got in St. Luke, where the cost is going to be sky high. The faith is going to be costly. It already is in parts of the world, but I think it even is here in America. To be actively Christian is no longer completely comfortable. In fact, it might be very uncomfortable. I don't see it here in St. Louis, and I don't see it in the university. But I think there are parts of the world, parts of even of our own country, where it's becoming much more hostile to Christianity. I don't see it immediately here. But I have to tell you, I was struck when I came here 50 years ago to go to grad school, but especially in the parish, where I saw such actively strong faith in the parish. Because being in the retreat work in Baltimore, I saw the struggle of the faith. I saw the faith diminishing. Here I found it vibrant. That's the truth. When I came out here, I saw no future at all to the parish structures, and yet what I found was a marvelous parish. So It may have been some things to do with where you are, when you are, how you are. But I saw the secularization occurring dramatically. You've got to be in retreat work when you see it in the very young. I was doing high school retreats, and we did a hell of a lot of them, believe me. I think we did 40 or 50 a year. You get a good picture of what tomorrow's going to look like. And you saw it was a tomorrow full of doubt. When I came out here, I didn't see that. I saw much stronger affirmation of the faith, whatever that's worth.